Here he is, the head coach of the Oregon Ducks, Dan Lanning. Coach, thanks for joining us, man. How are you?
Doing great, Joel. Thanks for having me.
You bet. It was really fun to cover you guys last week. I think very highly of your group. Um, and yet I know that last week, even in a win on the road in the Big Ten, trust me, I saw your interview with Ginny afterwards. She and I were driving to the airport afterwards. She was like, man, that coach wasn't very happy. And I was like, I don't think he was. Tell us about it.
Yeah, you just get when you know you have better and you can do better, you get disappointed when you don't reach that. And that's our job as coaches to get the best out of our players. And we found out some things about our team and moments of adversity, but when you have to convert 3rd and 8s and 3rd and 11s consistently throughout the day, like that's gonna be hard chopping for you. And when you don't stop the run the way you want to on defense, like that's gonna create some hard roads ahead. So we know what it has to look like in the future and where we can improve, and that's really what we walked away with. I mean, ultimately, we won the game in a defining manner, but there's a standard here at Oregon that we want to play by, and we probably didn't reach that last Saturday.
Going back to the last week, though, I do have to ask, like, have your ears stopped ringing? Because I know those speakers were
Oh
right
man,
behind you.
you do a double take the first time. You're like, is this really? Are you serious? Is this really what's going to be happening the entire game? I mean, I don't know how many they had, but it's definitely something they should keep
Yeah,
because yeah, it was hard. It was hard to hear, and it was obviously playing while we were on offense. It was a little different. Good
that's
prep for us in the future. We're gonna play in some hostile environments, so I didn't expect that in a small stadium.
I tell you, I think it's unique. I have a lot of respect for Northwestern and the way Coach Braun has gone about it, and they were trying to execute a blueprint that was going to be a blueprint for an upset, hold the football, extend drives, so on and so forth. But your talent level is at a point right now, and I think we all know it's at the upper echelon of college football. Your quarterback, you and I have talked about Dante Moore. On the outside, a guy like Dakorien Moore. And yet you praise a guy like Dakorien Moore's unselfishness and his blocking downfield you've talked about earlier in the season. Tell me more about this young kid, coach. How great can he be on the outside?
Yeah, he's gonna be really special. He already is really special for us, but, yeah, if you go watch him block in practice, like, that's what gets you just as excited because I think he's figured out early on that the impact he can make for the team isn't only when he has the ball, right? You can make an impact for your team the way you play every single down, and, he's really taken huge steps in that direction. He's gonna be a really special player. He's already hard to guard. He's dynamic with the ball in hand, but when he's a guy that's gonna create explosive plays because how he blocks down the field, like, that'll be a special piece for us.
Your backfield is deep. Your quarterback is one of the better players, I think, in the country. I think people around the country have a preconceived notion of what Dante Moore is because they feel like they saw him already when he was just a pup and a young true freshman at UCLA. This version, though, after sitting behind Dylan Gabriel last year, this is a far different version than what I remember seeing at UCLA. And you guys stressed to me the amount of prep that he puts in each and every Saturday to be great on the field. And that's something I think is going to serve him well.
Yeah, the work has made Dante different. I think about myself, like, what was I like as a coach when I first started coaching? I wasn't very good, right? What were you like as a broadcaster when you first
Oh, I
started?
don't
Maybe
want to
you're
talk
better.
about
I
that.
remember the I remember the Taco Bell story you told me, right?
That's
Like,
right.
it's changed over time, and Dante is a great example of somebody that's grown over time and learned how to prep and learn the answers to what defenses are doing. I think you look at a guy his freshman year, it's like, okay, these protections are a little bit different. These packages are a little bit different. Now you look at a guy that's calm within the chaos and makes big moments seem small with the way he handles them.
Well, I certainly appreciate watching him play. There's no doubt. You guys have Oregon State this week. That's an in-state rival. Take me into your level of prep and what you do, and is it any different whatsoever when you get a team that's that close in proximity to you guys?
Yeah, the process is the same, but how we execute the process is a little bit different every single week. So, determining the key factors in this game, what's it going to take for us to have success? Those are the things we really try to focus on as a program. Not 15 things, but let's take these 3 things and be the best at it. Our players have attacked it really well. I thought we had an average day on Tuesday for practice, but Wednesday the guys really attacked it, and a really good Monday. So, it should be a fun game for us this Saturday when we go attack.
Coach, you have done from afar, and I actually haven't discussed this with you personally, but you do an incredible job of grabbing something. It can be a narrative, it can be a comment, it can be anything, and using it as fuel and as fire to not only motivate but push your team forward. Have you always been like that, or is there a mentor throughout your process of becoming a head coach that kind of taught you that ability and that unique skill to grab onto something and use it as motivation?
Well, I think you're always looking for motivation as a coach. For me, I think it's probably part of what makes me stay focused, right? Like, what are the key determinants in this game? What are the key factors in this game? And anytime you have something that you can pull from, right, that's going to allow you to say, okay, let's go get this thing. That's what we're looking to find. That's what we're looking to go attack.
The conversation that you and I have, overarching outside of the season, just about our
Yeah.
sport, the things that I really enjoy getting into, as the listeners of my show know. You and I have a very strong opinion that we share about the calendar in college football. Let me outline what that is really quickly, and then you can react to it. You and I
Yeah.
both believe that we should be finishing the college football season sooner, and that we should be playing the national championship game close or near to January 1st, so that we can then have a roster building period after it, rather than this long period of break before we get into the postseason. Coach, we want to get out there, play the season, in the season, near, close, on January 1st. And I know you and I both share that.
Yeah, it would solve so many problems with what exists right now in college football. This year again, the portal will open and the national championship game will be 2 to 3 weeks after the portal is open. So there's gonna be teams that are still being in a season with players coming and going from your program. School year starts. Most schools start in semesters in January, but at that time it's hard to transition kids. Ultimately we got down to one portal window, which is a win, for the sport, I think. But there's gonna be a lot of guys that aren't able to even join their team yet because they're not, finished with where they're at in the season, or it's too tight of a window in general. Saturdays to me are sacred. They belong to college football. Every other, great situation in sports that has playoffs has some consistency within those playoffs. You don't need 22, 25, 28-day windows of no playing, right? We should play the championship games in our conferences. The next Saturday there should be a playoff game. Playoff games in my mind should be at home for higher seeded teams, just like they are in the NFL, just like they are in FCS football. And then they should be played every weekend until the season is done, without these long extended periods of time in between where we're trying to kind of satisfy bowl games and satisfy the playoff. There's two worlds that can't really exist in the same place in my mind.
Yeah, yeah, it's like serving two masters. You can't retain the bowl system and execute a quality playoff in the right timing. You and I are lockstep on that. I totally agree with everything that you just said, and hopefully the powers that be will make those decisions here in the future. Coach, before we let you go, I just wanted to tell you on a personal note, I couldn't appreciate more what you said in your post-game press conference, your description of what goes on in your locker room in light of what we're going through as a nation and a divided nation. And what you said and the way that you said it was not only accurate, but heartfelt and appropriate. And I, for one, very much appreciate it, man.
I appreciate you, Joel. I think guys like you, guys like myself, when we have an opportunity to have a voice, we should share it.
No doubt. There he is, Dan Lanning, head coach of the Oregon Ducks. Good luck this week, man. Thank you for watching the Joel Klatt Show YouTube channel. And if you liked this clip, make sure to like it and subscribe to the channel, and you can stay up to date on all of my college football coverage.